Makeup on.
Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's your girl, Chrissy, with another episode of Cipher Knowledge with Chrissy. I know it's been a little bit of a minute. You know, it's getting hot. I don't want to do shit. But anyway, I am back with another episode with my girl, Tanisha. I mean, I don't even know if I should tell any of y'all, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We have been friends, what is it, 27 years now? Because Sam's going to be 28. So this is my best friend of 27 years. I mean, we've been through all of it. We could tell you stories, but that's going to be a whole nother podcast. We got that peanut butter story, but we ain't even going to. Now I got everybody thinking, what the hell she's talking about?
You got the street crossing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't cross the street. But anyway, we won't go there. These are all allegedly. But thank you for joining. I'm going to go ahead and tell you about T a little bit. She is an entrepreneur. She is the CEO of her own travel company, Torrence Travels. She just decided one day that she was going to be her own success story. And here she is. So we're going to talk travel today and go over a couple of things and just, kind of talk and see what happens and see how it flows. But I want T to tell you, I'm sorry, we'll say Tanisha because this is for the show. You know what? Before we go into it, I really want to throw these up really, really quick, and I'll be flipping through it. For anybody who's watching, her Facebook is at Torrence Travels 722. She also has a Facebook group that you can join. It's Travels with T, and she has information there. She does some pop-ups with some trips that may be coming up, all of that, kind of good stuff. And then you can go directly to her website and book with her any of the stuff that she has upcoming, and we'll get into a little bit of that. But if you are a first-time viewer, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of Ciphered Knowledge episodes, all right? So we'll get to the first question, which is usually, the first and the last is usually what I ask every guest that comes on. But I want to find out from you, why did you pick travel? What made you or what inspired you to become a travel advisor?
I like to travel. Plain and simple. I got bit by the travel bug. I love to travel and I like to cruise. So once I went on, remember we went on one after we had our kids, right?
Yeah, it's right after 9/11 too.
That wasn't a very great trip for me.
I had fun.
I did. That's another story. I got left on the ship. Anyway.
Not by me.
Y'all went to the beach. But that wasn't a very pleasant experience. So then I went on another cruise. No, you couldn't. It wasn't your fault. It was my own.
Well, we won't even go there.
Another podcast.
Yes.
But I went on another one and I enjoyed it. So my love for travel, I've been traveling since I was a baby. My mom fly down to South Carolina. I thought that was the big thing. Come down to South Carolina and go to the beach with my family. I spent summers and Christmas in the South. So that's why I have both the North and the Southern hospitality. But I just fell in love with it after I went on another cruise, and it just, to experience it the way I experienced it, it was everything to me. To be able to go to another country, and even though with the cruise ships, you don't get to see the full extent, but when you go there, you get to say, oh, I want to come back. I want to come back. I want to spend some more time here. The people are so nice. The food is so good. The culture, and I got bit by that. And I love it. And they say, if you want to do something, do what you love, and it won't be work. So
yeah, absolutely. That's why
travel has become my passion. Yes, you have always had that nurturing, Even when your daughter cut her finger off and you picked it up and put it back and took her to the hospital. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even talking about it makes my stomach flip flop.
It was like, oh, there's the other part of her finger. Let me grab it, put it on some ice.
You, yes,
It
that is
was,
your
yeah,
nurturing and naturing. That is you. You are, mm,
yeah.
not me. Me, I want to go. Let's
Go
go
travel.
somewhere. Yes. Let's
and
go
and
see
I gotta
something
tell
new.
you, she's always, done the. I think the cruise is usually your big thing, but I've been seeing lately you've been more on the plane, getting around and doing things. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that too. But with COVID took a hard hit on the travel industry. You had booked my cruise for the family of 9 to Jamaica for Christmas of 2020, and unfortunately, that was canceled due to COVID. So that was a little bit of a bummer. That was a little bit of a sad, but. So I didn't tell you this, but I kind of throw other questions out there too. So
I'm going to kill you. Go
So
ahead.
how did you handle COVID with, because I think it was around the start, right? Like you started just shortly before COVID. So how did you handle COVID and then the travel industry? Like how did that impact you?
Okay, so I started my business in 2018, but I started picking up, like, I took 2018 as a learning period, train, figure out. I wasn't doing as much traveling. 2019, still in there grinding because we travel advice, we study what we want to tell you, and so that we're knowledgeable, we know what we're talking about. So I can't tell you about going to Guam if I've never been to Guam, but I can research Guam and let you know the best place to go in Guam and train and become a specialist. So 2018, when I first started, in 2019 I was doing my training, getting into the industry, taking my seminars. When COVID hit, I was just starting to pick up my business. I had in 2019, I had booked a couple of trips for 2020. One of them was yours. And we were just watching and watching and watching and waiting. But travel never really, passenger travel, leisure travel may have came to a halt, but travel never came to a complete stop. I don't recall. Did you ever do that? You did the visiting nurses,
Yes.
didn't you? So think of that. You still have visiting nurses. You had medical personnel traveling from here and there. So travel never really stopped as an industry, but it did come to a lull. And now everybody has cabin fever. So now it's like the floodgates have opened and everybody wants to go everywhere. And everything is booked. And and prices are going through the roof. So
Really?
yes, yes, the prices, cruising, you don't realize how many people love to cruise until you're trying to get on a ship and it is 100% sold out. Like
Wow.
all the way until December. People are booking 2022, 2023. And I know this was one of your questions. I don't know if you want to ask it to me or you
Yeah,
want me to just tell
yeah.
you.
No, go ahead.
But people think that you have to have all this money to go and travel. And that's not true. Travel is more affordable now than it was, say, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Like when we went on a cruise, we saved every single penny
Mm-hmm.
to go on that cruise. Now you can payment plan, finance. Um, there's so many ways for you to travel. I do payment plans. I do as low as a $25 deposit,
Wow.
depending on how far out it is. You can pay on a trip for a whole year.
Mm-hmm. I did that when I went to Europe. When I did my Europe trip, that's what I did. It was like, and then when you go with a group, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you do like a group package rate, so you get a couple of friends who want to go with you as well, you can do that as well and do the pay per price. But also, like you were saying, I think cruise is a great start for someone who may be doesn't say have the financial means to do the vacation, because you can port in different places and get to see
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of everything. And then it's all inclusive on the ship, right? Anything extra, of course, you've got to pay extra for, like your alcohol and stuff like that. But otherwise, I mean, you're eating, your bed is there, like you're just like your vacation is moving with you. Like there's really not, and that food is all day, round the clock. Like
Around the clock,
you
24 hours.
you go on the ship 150, you come off the ship 175. So
That sounds
so
about right.
yeah, it's 25 cruise ship pounds. So there's always an affordable way to do it, whether, like you said, I call it a layaway vacation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of make these small payments. Now, what if someone says, okay, well, that's so far out, it's a year out. I'm afraid that if I put the $25 down a month until I'm paid at the end of the year, what happens if something happens to me? I can't go with a medical emergency, a family emergency, or I change jobs and now I don't have my vacation or stuff like that. What can someone do to secure their vacation?
Insurance, travel insurance. Now more than ever, if you didn't think it was worth getting, make sure. As a matter of fact, most of um, my associates and myself, we're not giving you anything or presenting it to you without asking you, do you want it? We'll even factor it in there so you can see it's not that expensive to have it, and it is very well worth it to have it, because God forbid something happens to you in another country, you have to come home,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be super expensive,
Oh
let
yeah.
alone what you have to pay for while you're there in another country with their scale of medical billing or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the care that you'll get, you want to be able to have, you can have traveler's insurance where if you need to be helicoptered out, you can be helicoptered home. So
Okay.
it is very important now more than ever. I have it. I have it's an advisor uh, insurance, and it's good for the whole year. So it covers me on all my trips. If anything happens, I just make a claim. But it is very well
How
worth getting it.
expensive is this insurance compared to the trip itself?
The insurance ranges. There's two different kinds that you can really get. There's pre-departure. I don't know if people have heard of that before. Pre-departure is usually with like the airlines um, that will cover if something happens before you depart to go on your trip, you get it back. So the whole insurance, you would rather have, if you know you're going to go on the trip, get the pre-departure just in case something happens. But if you're going on the trip and you 100% know you're going, just get the full insurance. It can range from $45 to $125, I think. It just depends on what you're throwing in there. If you want to cover your flight, you want to cover your hotel, the car rental, your excursions, you can cover all of that. Just know how much. Give the insurance company a ballpark of what your package, or your agent advisor. She will tell you, this is how much your package costs. This is how much insurance costs. Do you want to add this on?
So now, when you add the insurance, can you add that into the payments as well, or does that have to be a full payment all at once?
Um, you would want to pay the insurance up front,
Okay.
because the insurance is all pre-departure insurance. That's a pre-expense. They need that in order to cover you. Some of the insurance you can add up to 14 days before you go, and some you have to add within 7 to 14 days of booking.
A booking. Okay.
Of
And so
booking,
if you're booking a year out, it's still 7 to 14 days, regardless that it's a year out. So
yeah.
you got to make sure you know whether it's booking or departure.
Because if
Um,
you cancel your trip, and it's not like, if you put down a non-refundable deposit, don't you want your deposit back? Or to have the security, I have insurance, so if I need to cancel that trip, all I'm losing is $45.
mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you rather lose $45 than the 500 that you started putting down on this trip? Or the 250 deposit that you put that is non-refundable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
Uh,
got lucky and they canceled the cruise, so therefore
mhm,
I got my entire deposit back because it wasn't canceled on my part. And that's kind
mhm.
of why we were waiting around to see what was going to happen. And I figured the cruise would be canceled.
Didn't we get you credit too for a future
No,
cruise? Or you took the.
I don't know. I let you do everything. This is why you have a travel advisor. This,
Yeah, I think
I
you
don't
wanted
know
the
whatever you
money.
got me.
You wanted the money back because we didn't know what the state of 2021 was going to be.
Right, because I
And
could have forward booked it to the end of and then I just didn't know
mhm,
what Christmas 2021. And thank God because my daughter's pregnant and the baby's due in August.
hey, with me.
So look, so and then my next grandchild's due in December.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a good thing that we just said, just give me my money, just give me the money. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
four,
yeah.
grandbaby number four. Yep,
Grandbaby number 4.
yep, and I love every minute of it. But so we kind of answered this a little bit of what does travel look like now that COVID restrictions are lifting. But I want to go into it a little bit deeper. So I know that if you're vaccinated, if you got both your vaccinations or your Johnson and Johnson vaccination, are you still able to get on the plane without your mask? Like, so how does that work? Do you know?
No, as of right now, airlines are sticking to the mask restriction. Um, well, even the airports, and it's federal property is it's adhering to the mask. So when you step foot on airport federal property, you need to wear your mask through the airport, on the plane. I think there was just a report of someone trying to bum rush the cockpit. They wanted to turn the plane around and stop the plane. Um, so they had to detour and let him off FBI and all that. But when you're on the plane, you're wearing your mask. They tell you to wear your mask, only take it down if you're going to drink something or eat something, and then kindly put it back on. Some airlines are giving hand sanitizers as you board, some give them out during the flight. And of course, there's hand sanitizer everywhere in the airport.
Okay, perfect. Now, like I'm hearing so many things. Like I'm hearing, well, I got my vaccine so I could travel because I want to travel and be told that I can't travel.
Mhm.
What state are we in right now when it comes to vaccination and flying? Do you have to be? Are there only certain uh airlines that are doing it?
Okay, so airlines have not made it, you must be vaccinated.
Okay.
Okay. Cruise ships, there are about 4 that have made it, you must be vaccinated up to a certain age, as far as kids go. But airlines, you do not need to be vaccinated.
Okay.
Um, Resorts, you do not need to be vaccinated. The only thing is, you will have to be tested either going to another country, they want you to be tested. And get this, I have a whole stack of paper. Like I printed out like all of them. So if you ask me one of them, I was going to go to the paper because I can't remember all of them. But each
It's okay.
country is going to
Mhm.
have their own standard. Like the U.S. right now, coming into the U.S., you have to be tested
Okay.
before 3 days before you coming in, right? So going into another country, you got to follow what their guidelines are. And their guideline might mean you have to be vaccinated or have within the last 6 months or have had COVID within the last 3 months or something like that. Um,
Okay.
okay. But they may also quarantine you if you're not vaccinated for a certain amount of time, which is part of your vacation. So unless you're
Yeah.
going over there for leisure, you got somebody that lives over there and you're going to visit for a month or so, I wouldn't want to spend 10 days in quarantine of my vacation.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not being an advocate for, I'm just explaining if you do not wish to get the vaccine, understand that you have to adhere to what those countries say as far as
So
you coming
what
into them.
if you can off the top of your head, what countries are the most restrictive if you're not vaccinated? Just an idea, just for an idea. I love that
I would
my girl
say,
took
okay,
notes.
so just offhand right now, I believe England,
I knew it.
Um,
Australia, maybe.
Australia wasn't letting anybody in. Hold on. Let me get my paper because I knew she was going to do this to me. Okay. I just knew she was going to do it. Um, but yeah, England, Australia, um, who else has there were some that weren't they didn't want us to come at all. But then they'll say if you are coming, this is what you have to do.
Okay.
And what you can always do, or what your travel advisor should be doing, excuse me, is checking with the tourism board and finding out where they are at and what is the requirement to come into that country. And your agent should be telling you that information before you even go. So I don't
And
need
this
to
is
have
why
it.
you need an agent versus booking it yourself. Because then
Yes.
you have somebody who's going to do the work for you.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is go over to tanishatorrence.inteltravel.com and book your trips with Tanisha. Like,
Yep.
I'm telling you, that's what you want to do because it kind of takes away, like, that's what I did. I said, girl, all my kids are grown. I'm not buying gifts. I'd rather spend the money that I spend on them in gifts that they just don't use anyway on a memory. So
That's right.
let's make a memory. Let's do this. Let's the grandbabies on the beach running and like just the fun and the giggles and make that memory happen. And I don't want to think about it. I said,
Hmm.
you do it. Here's the dates. Take care of it. Let me know what I got to do. you
That's
know.
right.
And I'll tell you, like she kept it within budget. She made sure what did you want to spend per person, how long did make sure she got all that information, and then it's out of your hands, and
Yeah.
they do the work for you. And I highly, highly recommend it. And then you want to stick with that one person because they're gonna know what you want, what you like, and all that other stuff. So we touched base on what's needed to travel internationally. What about domestically? What is that looking like?
Domestic, you can go anywhere. I mean, California is still have some restrictions up. Like I think they're just now getting ready to open Disneyland, but they are still fully masked. A lot of the states have. North Carolina is one has released the mask ordinance. You can go in if you're fully vaccinated. You do not
Jersey
have
too.
to wear your mask, but some places never closed, shut down really, not shut down really. Some
Vegas
places
never
have been,
closed.
oh, yeah.
Vegas never
But
closed.
they did shut down because the casinos were closed, but you could go to Vegas and walk around. I mean, it's like New York.
Well,
You,
listen, when I went in July of 2020, I was playing. I don't know. I was at the table.
yeah, but then they had it was kind of like a scale back. Let's do a little bit of a soft. Let's see what we
Open,
can
yeah,
open and how we're
yeah.
gonna do this. But traveling domestically, you can go anywhere, and
Vaccinated or not vaccinated.
vaccinated or not vaccinated.
So you're good domestically.
Domestically, you're good.
Okay. All right. Well, all
I
right.
mean,
That's
you're free to roam these United States. Now, going to Puerto Rico and Hawaii or Alaska, it might be a different story.
really
Correct.
okay. And is that because they're just separated from us?
Because they are separated from
Well,
us.
Guam is part of the U.S. too, is it not?
Yeah,
Like, is
yeah,
it? So,
yeah, same thing goes for Guam.
because you mentioned it earlier, I was like, wait a minute, Guam is part of us. So some people may not know that.
Some people don't know Hawaii is part of us.
Really? Oh, I
Yes.
learned that in grade school.
It's
What about
only
Mexico and Canada?
okay,
Now
Canada.
I know it's international still, but they're still kind of connected to us.
It's international though.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going into Mexico, Mexico does not require you to have vaccination or the what am I trying to say?
The
COVID
test.
test. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't require you to have that coming in, but again, coming back to the United States, you have to get tested. So when I went this past May for Mother's Day, we got there on Sunday. Monday, we had to get our test because we were leaving Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay. So resorts, as of right now, are doing complimentary, some resorts complimenting COVID testing for you to enter back into the US.
So does it
And
have to be? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
and if you do test positive, they were, I'll double check if they still are, they were allowing you to quarantine at the resort for the 14 days and be retested.
I might just want to get COVID while I'm in Mexico. No,
It's not what you think because you're confined to your room. You're not going to be able to walk around the resort. But see,
true.
The resort I was in, it had like a spa tub and I had a swim out suite, but the swim out suite is connected to everybody else. So will I still be able to go sit outside on my back deck or put my
It's
feet in the
outside
water?
in the air.
The air, but yeah, it wouldn't be everything you would. It's
Okay.
still paradise, but you're cooped up. You don't get to enjoy outside in paradise.
So now that testing, do you know if it's required to be a PCR test or a rapid test? Can you take a
It,
rapid?
it will be determined by that country which one is accepted. The one that we took was a PCR test.
Okay. So
It was
that's
not the
all the
rapid.
way up in there.
Yeah, yeah. They
You're
went
coming
up
in
and
and
they
out,
made a
T.
tear come out my eye.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were coming in and out a
I
little
said they
bit.
made a tear come out my eye.
Yeah, it's
Sorry. Can you hear
all
me
the
now?
way up in there. Like yeah, I can hear you now. It's like touching your brain and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so perfect. Like this is what I wanted people to know because I know I had some misconceptions too. I thought, well, I'm not going anywhere. Well, I just gave up my idea. We won't. But anyway, but again, still make sure you head over to Travels with T, join the group so that you can be in the conversation and in the know-how of where the vacations are happening and how much they're costing and who's got a deal and a meal and all that great stuff. So I know you love cruises, right? But what's your travel location recommendation? Like if anybody had to go anywhere, where would you point them in what direction?
It would all depend on their budget.
Okay. So
Okay.
let's start with a pretty yeah, this is the first vacation I'm ever going on because I usually can't afford it.
Okay, so then it would be the obvious choices of either Mexico, Dominican Republic, um, because if you want to experience, those are the places that would have the all inclusive. Aruba is nice too. Um, but yeah, if this is your first trip, first time flying, um, yeah, Mexico, Dominican Republic, those are the quick, uh, I don't say cheap, more accessible. Jamaica, more accessible places to
Vacations to go. Okay.
vacations to go.
What if
Well,
you're like, all right, I got a little bit of extra, money. I got that little stimmy I didn't do anything with. I reinvested in Bitcoins, even though we won't talk about what's going on with my money in Bitcoins right now. But you took it out before all this crap is happening now, and you invested a little something, and now you got a little stack waiting. Not a lot, but
just a
what
little bit.
direction? Just a little
Um,
bit.
I would go over to cross the pond. I would go over to where we're going next year. You coming? Dubai. Um, I would go to Paris, Amsterdam. Um, I
I
have
love
a
Paris.
you like yeah you went
I
without
love
me. We're not
Paris.
going to even talk about that. Okay. I've had people ask for Iceland.
Hmm.
Um, where else?
What about Ireland?
I want to go to Ireland. We're gonna go to Ireland. I want to go
I
to
want to go to
Ireland.
Ireland.
I want to go to Ireland and I want to go to Scotland. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
What about these places that you're kind of like Thailand and stuff like that?
I still want to go. I want to go. I want to go to Bali. I want to
Okay.
go to Thailand. I want to go to, I'm saying I want to go because in me wanting to go, I find out about it and I can throw the little packages out there. Come
Yep.
join me. Um, but I do want to go to China, Japan, even though, I still want to see it. I even want to go to Russia. I
I'm
want to
saying
see
it.
it.
I hear it's beautiful.
I know. I want to see it.
Yeah,
Like,
go different place. Yeah, definitely. So now what if you balling? Like you're gonna take your own jet there?
mhm. Where you see them, you taking your own jet. Oh. What do they say?
Are there
So
any private islands that are like just private, like privately owned? There are, right? There are
yes,
islands.
you can rent a private island for your family, just like you can charter a plane. You know, chartering a plane is not that expensive, especially with you and your family of nine once they get to be a little bit bigger. But then it might be a family of 20 or something. But you know, if everybody chipped in, the cost goes down. You understand? So chartering a jet is not that expensive if you got 10 friends that's going in. Let's say it's $10,000. We dropped $1,000 to have a chartered flight, round trip or whatever. If you were going to spend that anyway on a flight, transportation, go ahead and do it up one time.
You're damn right, because flying to some of these places, like I know flying to Hawaii is expensive as shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Hawaii
it's
is expensive. Um, you I mentioned Dubai. Dubai's airline, Emirates.
yeah,
Yeah, they have tickets that's $10,000.
no, mm-mm.
Yes,
But not
ma'am.
charter your own damn flight.
But that airline is very, very nice. And when you think of Dubai and UAE,
Yes.
it's luxury, excellence. When you said when price is no option, that's where people are going. Saint Tropez, Dubai, certain areas that we don't normally travel to
Mm-hmm.
because we feel we can't afford it, but you can afford it.
You just gotta hook up with T, and then you're gonna be able to afford it because she's gonna tell you how to afford it. I'm telling you, like, don't waste no time. Make sure you head over to the travel group. Make sure you head over to her Facebook page, and make sure you head over to her website. I'm telling
And
you.
when you go to the website, it's just like a booking or Expedia or whatever, where you have to sign in, put your information in. That information is for me, it's not sold or anything. That's so I can have it on record. Say your birthday is coming up or a month or two or your anniversary. I can send something to you to say, hey, I got this deal going on. I know your anniversary is coming up. I know your wife's birthday is coming up, Mother's Day, Christmas, that's what that is for. So you go to the website and you register just like anybody else, any other website, and just go through and click, and everything is on there. It's not just travel, it's tickets, it's passport information, um, it's transportation, flights, hotels, whatever you're looking for. If it's not on there, I can find it for you. Trust me.
So I have a couple of questions. Oh, hold on 1 second. Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
I have a couple of questions, right? So I always say people take their vacation in the summer, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
live in a cold state, people are still taking their vacation in the summer. I think it's more sensible when you live in a cold state to take your vacation in the cold and then enjoy your hot season when it's hot here, right? If you're looking to go to a hot place. So I rather go to Florida or California or Arizona or Texas in November, December, January.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that gets a little scary because of the air, right? Because of flying. Like, we're gonna have too much snow that we can't get there or can't get back?
Mm-hmm.
And it happened. I went to New Orleans once in February and I got stuck for an extra day because we couldn't get back. But oh well, it was an extra day in New Orleans. So like, um, so let's say what are the best time frames regionally to visit a location? Do you know? Like, could you just off the top of your head say it's better to go to Florida? Don't go in August and September because that's hurricane season.
Well, off the top of my head, I can't. I'm trying to think of a situation where it was like that. There are certain places like New Orleans you don't want to go in August because the residents of New Orleans say it's super humid to go. But to me, I've gone in August, September. It's just hot. It's a different heat. Going to South Carolina is a different heat. It's humid. It's a dry heat, or not a dry heat. It's just different from here. And I'm in North Carolina, and I go to South Carolina, and it was nice and cool here. It is hot and humid down there, but it's not going to rain. It's just a different. So as far as going, when's the best time to go? Most people that live in cold want to go warm, especially when it's cold. Like if you're up there, you don't want to stay up there no more. So in the wintertime, you go find a tropical island to go to. But there are different seasons and times that you should go, and religious reasons that you should go. Um, and you when you use an advisor, she'll let you know this is the best time. If you're looking to go here, this will be open. This is Ramadan. Nothing's going to be open. Nobody's going to be there. You can go, but you're not going to do anything. Um, or this is the rainy season. So you're not guaranteed to have beautiful sunshiny days, but then you'll have another country that never sees rain.
Yeah.
Every
Like
day is a perfect
I
day.
know London, England, March is its rainy month. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Like
and I
I
went in
think
March.
yeah, and even with like Seattle, you know, when you want to go up to Seattle or Alaska.
So I have, we'll talk about Alaska, but I have a little myth to break. Everybody thinks that Seattle, Washington is the wettest state in our country and has the most rainfall, but it's actually not. It's Mobile, Alabama that has the most rainfall every year.
Wow.
Booyah. So
Wow.
I
I didn't
looked
know
that up.
that. You did?
There you, yeah, I looked it up. I forgot why I looked it up, but I looked it up and it's just like stood in my head ever since then. So Mobile, Alabama actually gets more rain than Seattle, Washington.
Wow.
So Alaska, when is it like they got more darkness like 6 months out of the year, right? Like
They
it's
do
darker.
six, yes, they get twilight, dusk. It won't be full blown sunshine. It won't be full blown darkness. So it's just like daylight for 6 months.
So everybody's depressed in Alaska.
Not really. I mean, you learn how to
Adapt.
adapt to it. You know, you get the blackout shades and you learn how to adapt to it. Um, but yeah, Alaska is another one where you want to go during a certain time, um, because their winters, once the cold sets in, you don't want to be there.
But people live there.
They,
I
yeah,
know you adapt. You adapt to your environment. Your skin adapts. Your blood adapts.
your
All of your
eyes,
organs
yes,
adapt. It's just true. I mean, like that's why you go to the sunnier Caribbean places, and there's more pigmentation and melatonin in our melanin in our skin because we gotta adapt to
to the
the sun.
sunlight. Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had another question. What the hell was I going to ask you? It's not on the list. We already went through the ones on the list. Don't ask me, like, girl, we I was thinking of another question. We were talking about the different times and stuff like that. So would you be able to let any of your clients know, like, when certain festivals are occurring at certain times? Like, we
Hmm.
know Mardi Gras and Fat Tuesday. What's that, like the second week of March? I mean, February or something like that?
Yes, something
Right?
like
Like
that.
so, yeah, something
Mardi
like that.
Gras.
Because
Mardi Gras
I left a
is
week before Mardi Gras happened.
Mardi Gras is after the Super Bowl or before the
Yeah,
Super Bowl?
after the Super Bowl, because
After the
I
Super
left
Bowl.
right. I left the day after the Super, like that Monday after the Super Bowl, and I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, I didn't get
Yeah,
to
but
enjoy it.
all those festivals, like Mocha Fest, um, what did they have going? Soca, like all the Caribbean islands, their festivals, they'll let you know what's going on when they're going on. Like I just found out how many fest there are. They have it in Atlanta, Greece. Like y'all have Mocha Fest in Greece? Okay. Jamaica. But any festival that you're interested in or that your advisor comes across that may suit your activity needs, they will let you know about it.
So we got talking
Mm.
Rio. He said 2 years before I'm traveling. Like he's not trying to go nowhere
Oh, he's
until
not
2
trying to
years.
go to you.
He wants to wait
Wow.
2 years before he travels anywhere.
Wow, that's a long time not to.
That is a long time.
That's a
I
long
say,
time.
I say. So I'm giving myself a year, but just for different reasons, not for
Hmm.
anything. But not that I won't travel locally.
Yeah.
I'll still travel locally within the states, jump on a plane, go somewhere. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Okay, what's going on with the real IDs now? COVID's coming up. We had a start date and then that got pushed and then now another start date. And like, I don't know what the hell's going on. You definitely need a passport for Mexico, Canada, and anywhere else internationally. Yes?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Uh,
Now, Mexico, if you are not flying into Mexico and you're driving, Mexico has like this little card, or you can, because I am in the process of applying for global entry.
oh,
Um,
the hell is
that
that?
allows it's kind of like TSA pre-check,
Okay.
but it allows you, and it's good. Sometimes people don't understand. You need to invest in some of these things. Invest in your passport. Yeah, it's $155 or whatever, but
180.
it is good for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so think
I
about
let my
that.
lapse.
That's $18 a year. Really?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you do need your passport for the other countries: Canada, Mexico, Jamaica. I'm trying to think of the ones that are
Dominican
like
Republic,
Dominican
right?
Republic, the ones that are right here that people will travel to. You do need a passport. Your passport needs to be good 6 months prior to you leaving,
What do you mean good?
unless it's emergency. It has to have been issued 6 months prior to your departure date,
So
unless it
that's
is.
different from when I went to Europe because I did mine only like 2 months and then did an expedited passport, which
See, you did an expedited,
yeah, you
which
pay extra for that.
exactly. But for most, they when you're going on a trip, it asks, "Is your when was your passport issued?" And for most, it's 6 months before, and especially going on a cruise or going to 6 months before, and it has to be valid 6 months after. And I think that's to just cut down on people doing expedited or getting a passport and it's getting ready to expire. And
So mine expired in 2016, and no, I'm done. I'm already done because I thought I read somewhere where it said you could still do a reissue, like uh, a renewal, but it has to be within 5 years. And this is the 5 years, and I think it was March. I'm done. So I gotta go get a whole new passport and pay for it all over again because my dumb self. But when COVID happened and I wanted to do it, it was harder to get them done. Like it was harder to do it. And I just was like, whatever, forget it. I'm not going anywhere. But and I want to go to the real IDs, but I want to back up a little bit of what you said. What you said, cruise. So can you take a cruise to another country without a passport?
if you're leaving from the United States and returning to the United States, you don't need your passport. You can use your birth certificate to go, but it's always good to have your passport with you.
And
Like
why
I
is
said,
that?
if anything happens, God forbid, or you get left at that port in that country, you have to be able to prove who you are and where you belong. And you need insurance. Always have insurance.
I never take insurance.
I bet you will now. Whether
Oh
it's
yeah.
whether it's through a third party company, whether it's through the airline or the cruise line, or whether it's through your credit card company
I was
that
gonna
you're
ask
using
you
to pay
that. Do
for it.
some credit card companies allow that?
But just make sure you read the fine line to see if you choose to decline and you want to use your credit card company got you covered. You make sure you read everything that they are covering, because if they don't cover one thing that you need when you get stuck, what you gonna do then? Call
Yeah.
your agent and she gonna hook you up. She gonna figure out.
But only
She gonna
if
get you
it's
back where you need to
but
be.
it's only if your agent is Tanisha though. Only if your agent is Tanisha though. That's the only way she gonna hook you up. So now getting back to the real IDs, right? So
Hmm.
when is this gonna when is it gonna be effective? And that's gonna be all domestic travel?
Um, the real IDs, I just read up on it because I already have mine. Um, the real IDs, they kept pushing back the date. I think they just pushed it back again. And it probably won't need to be fulfilled until about 2025, I believe. But they did push it back again. The real IDs are going to be required to get on federal property, federal buildings, courthouses. You can use it to travel if you're not using your passport. But yeah, they just pushed it back because of COVID. Um, Pushed it
And
back a
you
little
can't
bit
get
more.
to DMV for shit.
Well, they got everything online now. I mean, even before COVID, if it's easier to just, and I know people don't want to put their information over the internet, but if you are a busy person, go ahead and go to the DMV.gov, .gov, I think it is, and go ahead and apply for your license or your renewal or your registration. Go ahead
But
and do
don't
it.
they? Doesn't it have to be in person for the real
They're
ID? I
gonna
know
schedule you.
Jersey. Yeah, Jersey's gonna. Yeah, because
They're
they're
gonna
yeah they're
schedule you for it, and now it will either be like this video chat interview, or going in person, but you'll get scheduled. You could start the process online and get you, instead of standing in line to wait to fill out a paper to then get an appointment to come back, or
unless you got a
however.
sister that works in DMV.
Keisha working DMV. Okay.
So yeah, so now she'll be like, "Damn, Chris, put my shit on the air." Now everybody's gonna be calling.
Mm-hmm.
But no, definitely, because I've always I have timeshares that I have
Mm-hmm.
not gotten the opportunity to use. I need to either get
Mm-hmm.
rid of them. I guess this is the
Mm-hmm.
best time to sell them now, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think we need to. Do you? We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll talk. But we're heading into that hour mark, and I want to ask you what I ask every guest at the end of the show, and that is, if you can leave the viewers with one piece of lasting advice, what would it be? And it could be anything.
Okay, so where's my camera? Camera. Book the trip. You can afford it. You can afford it. Book it. Create memories. Yes, they love all them toys that get thrown in the garbage, but they will remember, hey, mommy, remember when we went on the ship and we went to go and we saw the whales, or we swam with the dolphins? They'll remember that more than that toy that you bought that they don't play with no more, or they're 18 years old and you bought $5,000 worth of gadgets and everything else over the course of their childhood. They will remember those trips that y'all took, even if it's just once or every twice a year. Take the trip. You can afford it.
There you go. And I give it to you. And you don't have to go so far. Like, I'm up in Jersey, and I'll tell you, I think the best domestic trip I ever had, believe it or not, was Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach is nice.
Yeah, I think.
And there's like, even though people don't, Club Med is a little bit older, and I think eventually we'll get to the point of having a little bit more. But you can go to Club Med. There are nice resorts, vacations in Arizona, places you don't think of, but understand that a resort here in the U.S. is not going to be all inclusive. I have people that ask about that. There's no all inclusive in the United States or US, period. That includes Hawaii, that includes Puerto Rico, that includes Alaska. Not sure about Guam. Okay. So there's no all inclusive there. And Club Med is the only all inclusive that I know of in
In the States.
Florida,
Okay.
in the continental United States.
Okay. Okay. So, listen, I need all of y'all to head over to her Facebook, Torrance Travels, over at Torrance Travels 722. I know why you did 722, but you should have done 721.
I'm
But we ain't
sorry.
even going to go there, all right? That's an insider. That's an insider. So, and then make sure you go over and check out her Facebook group, Travels with T. Go like it, be a part of the group. Look out for her posts where she posts different trips and different travel things and everything that's kind of going on. And then last but not least, when you are ready to book or you want to talk to her, head over to tanishatorrence.inteltravel.com. I'm telling you, we can do that. Like, you can do it. There's, and the only way you're gonna know if you can do it is if you pick up the phone and call T.
Yes.
Like, she don't care what your budget look like. She don't care what's in your bank account and whatnot. We're not here. Like, if you want to travel, you can travel.
Mhm.
So she ain't, whatever you like, okay, I only got $200 and 2 days. Like, she'll figure something out, whether it's a boat to Staten Island and back. But she's gonna figure something out for you, okay? So make sure you check her out. Go over to her website, go over to the Facebook group, and go over to the Facebook travel page. So what I want to do is thank you very, very much for agreeing to be on the show. I mean, you had no other choice.
Of
So
course. I was
there
waiting
was
for my time. I wasn't in season 1. I wasn't on with Mama and Mara, but it's okay. I'm here
well,
now.
this was I knew I wanted to wait. I already knew from season 1 I wanted you on. But
Uh-huh.
COVID was happening. And I was like, nah. It's got to be right in that sweet spot. And this is the sweet spot. I think this
Yeah.
is definitely the sweet spot. So your girl know what she's doing. I may have not taken a marketing class, but god damn it, I know what I'm doing.
And I am
So
so proud of you. I
thank
always tell
you.
you, you're doing a great job. I might not catch you every single time, but I do catch you or the replay. Y'all support her, subscribe. She is bringing you the information that people discuss at home, but really needs to be discussed in public. Certain things, and she's doing the damn thing.
Thank you. I always had a motor mouth. You couldn't keep me quiet for shit.
No, you can't keep her quiet for nada. For
I was
nada.
just at a barbecue and the men were trying to talk and I kept talking over them, but they were like, I'm talking. I said, and so? like,
But yeah,
like,
this is
definitely.
20 plus years, and you just
Yeah.
let her talk.
Listen,
Just
that's it. Even if you're not listening, pretend you are. That's it. So I want to leave you guys what I leave at the end of every show, which is if all you've experienced is all you know, then you are in a deficit of knowledge. And I'm telling you, traveling is one of the key components that'll help you build more experience so that you are not that deficient in different cultures, different areas, different ways of life. It's just one other way to do it besides education. And that's what I try to bring to the show here every Sunday. So listen, thank you everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you, girl, for coming on. I appreciate it. Love you.
Of course.
And I will see you next Sunday. So on that note, one love.